And we are joined by a man who is no stranger to the Observer, very outspoken and always willing to add his voice. Let me say a pleasant good evening to PNM activist, Mr. Barry Garcia. Good evening to you, Mr. Garcia.
Good evening, Mikey. Good evening to all your listeners on the World Wide Web.
Yeah, everyone here viewing. Barry, a lot is taking place. I mean, things are shaping up for the next general election. We're seeing the selection of candidates and what have you. Many people seem to want to shy away from the fact of why it is that Mr. Fitzgerald Hinds was not selected once again to represent the people of Laventille West. Can you give us an insight on that?
Mikey, Fitzgerald Hinds and I are personal friends, but I am saddened by the fact that the constituents is the one that said they don't want him back. When you have the Women's League of your constituency voting against you and the youth arm voting against you, that speaks to you. That speaks directly to you and your non-representation of the people. The politics has evolved. The people is not going to take any and anybody that they ram down their throat. They're not going to put up anybody and they're going to accept it. They want to be able to connect with the MP. They want to be able to have a relationship with the MP. And they want to be able to see the MP. All right? And these are the things that Mr. Hinds may feel hurt, but he has to come to terms that he did not represent the people properly. And he has to come to terms with that.
Yeah, but in all fairness to Mr. Hinds, and I think coming from me, this would be quite surprising. But I don't really and truly like to waste time. I like to get straight to the point of the matter. Mr. Hinds, was he given any kind of assistance to help the people of Laventille West? I mean, he couldn't give what he didn't have, and the fact be it is that it seems as no matter who the PNM put there, Barry, they are going to vote for that candidate anyhow. So is Mr. Hinds being used as a scapegoat?
I don't think so. I think you have to be able to build a relationship. Let me explain something to you, Mikey. In every constituency, be it UNC or PNM or any other party that holds a constituency, the people in the constituency know the MP can't do everything for them, you know. But what they want is to have connectivity with the MP. And if that is lacking, they would resent the MP. It's not the first time that the people said that they didn't want a candidate under the PNM, you know. It has happened before. And the people voiced their opinion loudly. Take, for instance, when Mr. Manning removed Penny in 2010. The Arima people rebelled and did not come out and vote because they wanted back Penny, because they found Penny to be a very good representative of them. She did not have all the resources needed to go and help the people, but the people were able to see her and communicate with her, and she was able to give them assurances that she is doing her best to represent them. And this is what you have to do for the people.
All right.
Okay.
So you're looking at now. Many people weighing in on this would look at what took place with young Kareem Marcel being selected, of course, to contest the seat. But really and truly, again, we're talking about an area that you can't really use any sort of political litmus test to say, this is how it's going to swing or this is how it's going to go. It is a PNM area. Regardless of that, I mean, so one has to ask the question, if they ask you, what's all this big thing about young Kareem Marcel? It's all good and well for his political resume, but is it really going to make a change?
Exactly. Well, I'll explain something to you. Kareem Marcel came from the BTM, and he has excelled. He has become an attorney. But what made Kareem Marcel became attractive? Kareem Marcel continues to service the community of Beetham. Recently, he held a football tournament in the Beetham, where on top, Laventille on the hill came down, Carnage, Maloney, a team from Penal participated and all of that. And he had everybody together, and not one gunshot was spelled, not one cuss out, not one fight. Everybody was in unity. The thing about it is that Mr. Hinds is the Minister of National Security. He has a hotspot constituency. and you haven't bought not one crime prevention initiative to that constituency as to uplift the young people in that constituency. And this is what Kareem Marcel has done. Kareem Marcel has come forward and is uplifting the young people in those constituencies, telling them they could exercise their willpower and turn it into a positive thing like sports and all of that and academics. Kareem holds a become Christmas party with the IATF police officers and has the whole become ground packed with kids, presenting them with little gifts and so on. And these are the things that will attract people to you when you do these things. And to top it off, Hinds did not attend the children party. Hinds did not attend the football. That shows lack of interest in the people.
All right, so he's going to show up. All right, so we're getting into the heart of this, what's going to happen with this campaign. A lot of these changes, of course, may be viewed as just cosmetic, but taking into the entire scope of things, because now the incumbent, which is the PNM, has to say, listen, I have done a great job. It is for them to sell to us as the electorates that if you vote for me, I will continue to do a good job. But Barry, that's not the reality. The fact of the matter is, taking away from the whole Kareem Marcel having something to jump up for, that doesn't change the fact of the mismanagement of COVID, almost 5,000 murders in 9 years, home invasions, record reports of extortion, kidnapping incidents, poor academic performance in our schools, a stagnant economy with no direct foreign investment, no major revenue generating programs or policies, unemployment at an all-time high, Petrotrin, dead babies in the NICU, 4% offer to the unions, and the list goes on and on and on. There has to be the reality that the job was not good, and regardless of what your lineup is, how are we going to vote for you again?
Mikey, that some of those things they could be easily dispelled. All right, the party has a mechanism in place that it comes forward and it speaks to the people directly. You have a Minister of Youth and National Service who has been doing tremendous work with young people, opening up a number of programs for young people to get involved in. Tremendous program. Let me explain something to you. The crime part, let me give you something. Mr. Hinds was in Ministry of Works. Dr. Rowley moved him. Mr. Hinds was in Public Utilities. Dr. Rowley moved him. Mr. Hinds was in National Youth and National Youth Service. Dr. Rowley moved him and put him in. He was in the Attorney General office. Dr. Rowley moved him and placed him in National Security. The police service is the backbone of your national security to solve crime. Dr. Rowley take that away from you and give it to Keith Scotland and put Keith Scotland in cabinet. What that speaks to you, Mikey? What that speaks to?
I don't see how Mr. Hinds can be made the political scapegoat here. Now, your reply to what I read out said that a lot of those things can be dispelled. Isn't that a bit disingenuous to the fact that how can you tell someone whose home was invaded and they were beaten and robbed that is not a fact? How do you tell someone who has been called by criminals and say, listen, I want so and so money, I know where your children go to school, I know where you live, that you could simply dispel that? How can you simply say the people who died due to the mismanagement of COVID, loved ones who took their last breath on some ward, God only knows how they went out, that in itself can simply be dispelled? How do you dispel the reality that people are living on a daily basis, and on what grounds can the incumbent campaign on if all of this is real?
But how can you say the government mismanaged COVID? What are the realities in COVID? The government set up a parallel healthcare system to treat with COVID. Persons will die from it. People will die because COVID was not an easy thing. Over 2 million people died in America. People die all over the world. We didn't mismanage COVID. The opposition was making a cry crying to the government to get vaccine. When the vaccines come, the opposition was keep telling people don't trust the vaccine. How is that? That's not factual.
All right. Almost 5,000 murders. Go ahead. We'll go down the list. Almost 5,000 murders in the last 9 years. Go ahead.
Murders. I could speak to that. Criminality has become a norm in Trinidad and Tobago because everybody wants to get money fast. Everybody wants to get money fast. And I would put some blame on the government for that, right? For not putting things in place to curb with that. Because you have had a Minister of National Security who was not functioning in the best interest of the people. The police service is the public entity to take care of crime. And the police service is not functioning the way it's supposed to function. Government only act on policies. The National Security Council goes and advises the Prime Minister, advises the Minister of National Security, and they come with policies to deal with the crime. All they can do is to provide policies. The operational aspect of treating with crime depends on the crime institutions such as the police service, the customs, the immigration, the Coast Guard, the prisons, and all of them.
All right. So I guess you can cover home invasions and extortion and kidnapping in that same process. All right.
The police, with that, Mikey, the police is the one that is not functioning in society. Okay. And the government is not making sure that the police function because the police service has become too political.
All right. So we look at our poor academic performance in our school systems.
That has nothing to do with the Ministry of Education. That has to do with the teaching service. That has to do with the teaching service. Why it is these schools that are not poor academical tuitions? You have to deal with the teaching service. The ministry of itself cannot deal with the teaching service. There's something called the Teaching Service Commission who sits idly by and allow these things to take place.
All right. As the economy, no direct foreign investment, no major revenue generating programs or policies.
Then he has to go back to the Minister of Finance and ask him what he's doing. What things he has put in place to impact the economy in a positive way? You have to treat it him.
All right, and let me ask you, if looking at that, do you think he should be treated the same way as Mr. Hinds?
Huh?
Do you think then he should be treated the same way as Mr. Hinds?
Depends on his constituents, on them. His constituents are not saying they don't want him, but Hinds' constituents said that they didn't want him. Hinds' constituencies is the ones that rebelled against him. It's not the party rebelled against Hinds, you know. His constituents rebelled against Hinds.
All right.
And he had to look in the mirror.
But you did mention his poor performance as a minister.
Yes, I did mention that, yes. But the constituents of itself, Mikey, when you become an MP, a member of parliament, your first priority is to your constituents. You must build a relationship with your constituents. You must be there for your constituents. Your constituents must have belief in you that you are doing things to affect their life positively. And if they are not seeing that in you, they will rebel, Mikey, regardless of who it is. It is not the first time that constituents has rebelled against a PNM candidate. Going up.
Right.
They said no to the General Council. We do not want that candidate because he has not functioned. It is the same thing going on in Tabret. McClutchy has not been there for the constituents, and the party refused to put him back up.
And let me ask you, of course, I had Mr. Ozzy Warwick on, General Secretary of JTM, and he made it quite clear that the breaking point was the Prime Minister accepting this salary increase. What say you on that matter?
I think the timing is bad. But then again, it's not the Prime Minister alone. You have 950 public officers depending on that salary increase. What is alarming about the salary increase is the percentage that they have been increased by. Okay? You can't do that. You didn't give a justification on why the SRC has proposed that exorbitant amount of increase. right? It's not just parliamentarians alone going to be properly remunerated from the increase. Is judiciaries, is the members of the public officers, 950 persons who will be accepting the remuneration.
Okay.
I think if the Prime Minister is smart and intelligent, he will say he will hold on the increase for the members of Parliament and let the public officers get the increase.
Right, and that is, of course, what the opposition leader made quite clear. She said that. Now let me ask you this: what more can we expect as we gear for the upcoming general election from the PNM?
The general election is going to be keenly fight, and one thing the PNM has done is PNM has marketed itself in every constituency on a very good basis. The PNM is not an easy party to throw out of office. They have a very good, strong ground machinery. They know how to talk to people, they know how to approach people, and they know what to tell people to buy into them. PNM is not a just come party just formed by the way. You know. The PNM is almost 70 years old. It's a very, very intelligent party. It may have its weaknesses, like everybody and every other thing, it has its weaknesses. But the PNM is sitting solidly, and they'll go out there and they'll fight the election very vigorously and intelligently. And maybe they will win the election.
Right. Barry, it's always good to have you on to get that insight and, of course, that different perspective. We'll be checking with you, of course, and all the best to you and the entire community down there.
All right. Thank you, Mikey.
Thank you so much. Well, that was Barry Garcia, PNM activist. I'll tell you what stood out there to me is that the fact that the incumbent believes that they have a campaign. That's the thing. And then you have to ask yourself now, who's at fault for making them believe? Because he's very confident of the fact that the reality that you are facing on a daily basis, the fact that your savings have been depleted, the fact that you stay up at night trying to find ways to see how best you could feed your family, the fact that bill collectors are calling, the fact that you worry about giving your child the best education, the fact that you may have been a two-car family and now you're down to one and perhaps you're simply down to nothing because you had to sell off things in order to keep your head above water. He is saying that your reality can easily be dispelled. Yeah, forget about that. When you ask about the fact of mismanagement of COVID, almost 5,000 murders in 9 years, home invasions, record reports of extortion, kidnapping incidents, poor academic performance in our school system, the stagnant economy, which of course is no direct foreign investment, no major revenue generating programs or policies, unemployment at an all-time high, citizens, small and medium business owners. When it comes to Forex, Petrotrin, dead babies in the NICU, the 4% offer, millions of dollars unaccounted for, poor infrastructure, poor healthcare, senior citizens as soft targets. The Prime Minister accepts a salary increase. The most vulnerable in our society cannot access social assistance. Property tax increase in utility rates, and we're hearing cost overruns at the Tobago terminal. All of that that you have been plagued with can easily be dispelled. So is it that the PNM believes that let's take Mr. Hinds out of the equation and all that he has failed to do or accomplish at the Ministry of National Security to protect the citizens will simply not be part of the campaign? And perhaps by telling even Mr. Imbert, here what, you're going to come through if I have to bring you through the Senate, but we can't put you up. And by removing him, is it that monies and everything that has to be accounted for is simply not going to be a part of the campaign? And what say you?